when we study about Buddhism, and of course it's part of religion. It has some kind of legend, some kind of mythical, and so forth. Okay, so let's you can sit here. Let's start with group 1. Who does number 1? Only you. Okay. Now, let's. If you can, I don't. Actually, it's better to sit on the chair, so don't sit on the floor like last time. All right. So, let's. How about this? You know your number, right? You don't know your number?
I forgot mine.
Oh, you got your number?
For the question, right?
The question, you remember?
I got one, but I don't remember which one.
You don't remember? You have your laptop? Which one? You remember? So most of you remember your question, right? Let's go with your number, okay? And let's spend 5 minutes together. We follow the same. We do the same format like last time, okay? So we'll check with you. Okay, let's go. You can go with. Okay, you can go. Please group together. Okay, which one you remember? Have you written?
I read it, but I don't remember what question I picked.
You don't remember?
I think I might pick first or second one.
Okay.
I cannot find number 3.
What's the number? Number 3. Yell to them. Number 3.
Hey guys, number 3. Where are you guys? Alright, we're just Is there any?
You can go. What's your number? You can go. That's okay. You can leave it there. You can leave it there, and you can go then. You see everyone?
I can bring it in next class. I have it all on my computer. Or I can even take a screenshot of it and email it to you also. Okay, I'll do that.
Oh my God, you're awesome. And started giving me like, what's the name?
So when
Money, power, whatever, and that means you're reading. Yeah, and the green means he's like, no, it got to one thing right now. I read it, right? Hour means the same, but that's what that
Tangling it.
That's right. What I think is under and then after Pacific New Day, became more Tibet. Why would you ask for the soul opponent? That's what's hitting me. Why would you ask for the
I get all crazy.
It was like Mara. Well, that was the last one. It's okay? Okay, what is it?
And then, okay, and then how do you
Probably not even this one.
Yes.
You need like about 5 more letters. I think they kind of like backtrack. It's not like how long is this here? Like,
This is the year looking
okay, so he already has like this one, and he was like, but I want to be each one of this one that's Buddhism charter. So he was like, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna demand that he makes all of his monks follow his family. And knowing that that's what we're gonna do, and then whatever else he did, and he used that was and then but then Buddhism says to this disciple.
I'm gonna wait for it.
Oh yeah.
What's it? You are number what? Oh, so.
But I think we should talk about both. We went over Mara last time. But we should talk about who's number 9.
You look here, so.
I said 9.
You 9.
I'm on my number 5.
Number 10. Last meal? Oh, really? Okay, number 9 years old. Okay, please. Attention. One more minute, please. One more minute, please. Yeah, 1 more minute. Let's wrap up, okay? We wrap up just for 1 minute. Okay, thank you. 1 more minute.
Just like
I'm just saying. I don't know how to say words. I'm trying to be quiet. They won't let me take sign language. They won't let me take sign
Okay, everyone ready? Okay, let's start with number 1, please. Who's number 1? Yes. So, yeah, please. Who is the leader? Yes. Yeah, go ahead. So, what is about Buddha daily activities? Actually, sorry. Before we move on, sorry. I told you guys before we end the class last time, right? We talk about Buddha, right? Siddhartha, he sat under that Bodhi tree for how long? 49 days.
49.
Remember, it is a number. 7 times 7 is 49.
Yeah,
Okay.
I divided it because I'm Asian.
Yeah.
By myself, I don't know why.
Okay. So before we move on the question, now, who can define for me what is meant by Buddha? What is meant by enlightenment? What is meant by awakening one? What is mean? That's different term. Yes.
Understand the truth of life.
Okay, understand the truth of life. What else? What else? What's mean? You have to understand that. Yes. Self-discipline. Yes, part of that. Yes.
Be the end of suffering.
End of suffering. Yeah, that's part of that too. Okay. All right. So anyone else? Anyone's? What's mean? You have to understand it. Otherwise, when you walk out of the class and you don't know the meaning of Buddha, you blame on me. Right? So who else? What is mean the Buddha? And we have some terminology we need to study later on. This one here. Some term we need Buddha. Arhat. Bodhisattva. So these are the basic terms for you to understand. Alright, you have to distinguish the difference among them. Okay, so let's go back to what's the Buddha? Yes.
The awakened one, the person who understands how to stop samsara and cyclic life.
Okay. Yes, sir.
The one who realizes the three marks.
Okay. You complicate the problems. Well, that's right. That's the only way. It's pretty important. Now, what's mean awakening one? What's mean? Let's say at night you go to sleep, right? In the morning you wake up, right?
But you're not aware. You're not aware.
You're not aware, but still. So every morning we wake up from the dreams. So that's
You
mean.
awoke from the illusion.
Yes. That's the point. What kind of illusion we have here? With this. You know, okay. That's why we discuss about. Yeah. That's what we discuss about Buddhism here, right? What type of illusion that we have? Illusion about ice cream, illusion about iPod and so forth. Yes, sir. Okay, so kind of. Now, have you had this kind of experience before? Sometimes you do some certain things that you have the moment that you wake up, a moment that you recognize some things. You have that kind of moment. That's Buddha. But we are little Buddha. Why? Sometimes we know, sometimes we don't. Alright. So now when we have conversation with our friends, right? Sometime on the way we say something that may be offended to our friends, right? That's why, because we say something out of ignorance. Make sense? But if we are mindful, we would recognize whichever things we're talking about, right? So that's what the Buddha mean. Buddha mean being awakened. That means he recognized everything within his mind, everything within his body, every step he does. That's why when we study about Buddha daily activities, you see that he didn't even sleep. For the Buddha, no, he just rests for 1 hour per day, not sleep. For us, how many hours per day that we need to sleep? At least 24. Okay, 24, you sure? Okay, so still, see that because we have a lot of activities here in our brain and our mind. That's why we confuse. But when someone attends to that state of mind, being awakened, the Buddha, they're more alert, they're more mindful of things they're doing. You remember the times that when you have lunch, while you eating, you texting, right? While you're driving, you texting too. Is that right?
No, that's
Just
against
do,
law.
huh?
We don't break laws here.
You don't live, oh, really? Okay. So, all of you driving, right? Most of you driving? Yeah, I know. All right. So, do they give you ticket here while you're driving? You testing? Do they give you ticket? Do they arrest you?
Give you a really big fine if you're texting and driving to school.
How about out there, downtown on the freeway? They may give you a ticket. Wow. In California, this is the big deal. Anyway, so most of the time when we doing things, we don't focus much. Right? We're not mindful to do things much. But for Buddha, whenever he does, he recognizes things that he does. That's what awakening is for. Well, that's what the mindful is for. Okay? And every one of us has potential to become Buddha too. When we are mindful, when you're driving, you're mindful of your driving. When you're eating, you're mindful you're eating. When you're talking, you're mindful you're talking. That is the Buddha nature that you develop there, that you live with there. Make sense? So that's what Buddha for. And yes, of course, the reason why we turn around according to Buddhist view in the samsara or cycle of the birth, because we talk about later on attachment, anger, and so forth. So when someone attend to Buddha status or arhat, they have ability to go in and out of a samsara or cycle of the birth, but we don't have choice. We discuss about that. Okay, so clear now for Buddha. So again, awakening one, of the mindful one, whichever names you may have, or everyone has that nature. Even the dog, even the cat had that nature. Who have pet at home? Many of you. Right? So most of you have pets. You see, sometimes they're mindful, right? The cat, right? The way they catch the rat, right? The mouse, right? They're so mindful, right? See? Okay, and it can even your dog too. So even not talking about human, but animals or all sentient beings, according to Buddhist view, that have that type of Buddha nature. And we talk about that Buddha nature, emptiness, later on. Okay, so that's my introduction about Buddha. Let's go back to number 1, please. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, the Buddha's daily activities are sort of segmented into 5 sections. The first section of his day, from like 6 a.m. until noon, he would go in search of the vicious and impure, challenge them. Those of virtue would come in search of the Buddha and seek spiritual guidance from him. During the afternoon session, from noon to 6 p.m., he would be available to the bhikkhus and the lay followers, lecturing to them about the Dharma. And his evenings were divided into 3 watches. The first watch, from 6 to 10 p.m., was devoted to the instruction of the bhikkhus. He would answer their questions on the Dharma and meditation and address any doubts of his followers. Next, the middle watch. And during this period, celestial beings would come to him and question him on the intricacies of the Dharma. And in the last period of the night, the last watch, he would do a variety of things. He would pace for an hour as a sort of mild exercise, rest for an hour, and then he would spend the final hours radiating loving kindness to all beings in the world and using his inner eye to find those who needed help.
So what do you think about his activities, his schedule? Most of us, or all of us, we say that we're so busy, right? What do you think about his schedule?
It's packed, and he repeated it every day, well into it's all.
Do you know how long does he live up to?
35 years.
How long? How long? What is his age before he passed away? You know his age? Yeah, Buddha. Yeah. 80. So he attained enlightenment since he was about 35. From 35 to 80. That's his daily activity. That's his daily schedule. That's so busy. It's more than us, right? And many of us, we may need to rest, right? To go to sleep at least 5 hours, right? At least 5 to 8 hours. But for him, he just rests. You know why? Because he's awake. He knows everything. Actually, even the Zen master, some of them, they didn't sleep much. If they enter samadhi or concentration, they don't need to sleep much. My Zen master, he stayed in samadhi for more than a month, without eating, without sleeping, just sat there for a month, for more than a month. In the past, many people have that kind of skill. Not talking about Buddha. So that's why you see that he has so busy schedule. And how about the part that you say that he gave the teaching to celestial beings? What do you think? Yes?
Is that similar to channeling?
What is that?
Like channeling?
Jhana?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's different. I'm talking about what do you think when he mentioned about he spent times in the first, second watch of the night, right, to teach the celestial beings who come down to seek decision from him. What do you think? Is that part of the delusion, or it's because it's just, as human we have to have some kind of scientific proof? But what do you think? Yes.
I think he was able to use his mind so well to where he was able to astral project to the celestial beings in order to give them that teaching. So he had the ability to use kind of like a teleportation device in his head.
Yes, you have. Some people have that skill, right? The psychic people, right? They have that skill. You see some unsolved question and some mystery. They have some psychic people that can help the police to find out the criminals, right? So nothing but Buddha. Okay. So that's all. Let's just move on to number 2. Who is number 2? Yes, sir. What's about? It's very interesting. Yes, sir.
Okay. The Buddha had many miracles. I guess the first could be considered his miraculous birth, when he took 7 steps to the east, even as a newborn, and then spoke. So that would be considered miraculous. And then other times, I guess throughout his life, there were occurrences, one of which was a time when his cousin kind of incited his elephant to attack him, and it was rushing towards him, and a woman dropped her child in front of the elephant. Before it trampled the child, the Buddha touched the elephant and it became calm, very calmed down. I think it sat down as well. And then another one of his miracles was the twin miracle, where half of his body it looked like it was on fire, emitting flames, while the other half was shooting water. And he could alternate between the top and bottom halves and the right and left halves, which I thought was interesting. That kind of reminded me of like the duality of him as a wheel turner, like whether or not he would be a great ruler or an enlightened being. So there are kind of those two different paths, which the twin miracle reminded me of that. Another time he purified a well. One of his disciples, he was telling them to draw water from their well. They were telling him that it was dirty and wasn't drinkable, but he finally, they eventually did draw water out and he purified the well. In another account, he visited the realm of Brahma. He went into Brahma's world and exactly what happened, but he showed him. Well, the Brahma decided to follow Buddha's Dharma after that, and they had a kind of a contest where Brahma hid from Buddha, and Buddha was able to find him, and then Buddha hid in the void in a meditative state, and Brahma was not able to find him, which further increased Brahma's faith. And he also had powers of kind of telepathy and teleportation, like you mentioned, but he also he encouraged people not to practice his teachings just for the sake of getting the powers. Like that wasn't a goal. I guess that was kind of a side effect.
Thank you. Let's show again. You see, I went to India this is Bodhi Gaya, just nearby where he attained enlightenment. They have this statue and what they call Naga, or the serpent that cover him right after his enlightenment to protect him from raining. And that's what he talked about, right? The Brahman requests him to give the teaching. And here, the miracle that's he went up to one of the heavens to teach his mother, the one who passed away. And that's just a miracle right there. There's one here too. and here we talk later on here. Okay. Now, who believe in miracle? You have any experience about miracle before? Any one of you want to share? Yes.
I fell out of a car when I was a baby and I lived.
Oh, really? That's miracle?
Yeah.
Or a car crash?
Well, no, my mom left me in the back. I was like a baby, bundled up with my two sisters, and she turned around and suddenly I wasn't there, and she was like, "Where's your sister?" And both my other sisters, like, because they were like 5 and 6, and turns out I had fallen out of the car somehow, rolled across the street, like on a freeway, onto a feeder.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My parents slammed on the brakes. No, I have no. I'm fine. I'm
Okay.
here.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow, you're so blessed, huh? Anyone? Thank you. Anyone have some kind of miracles happen in your life? Yes?
I've read my friend's mind once. I remember I was just taking deep breaths and image popped in my mind, and I said it, and it happened to be the very image of his mind.
Oh, really? Oh, that's...
What was it?
Cookies.
Okay. All right, that's good. Who else? Who else would like to share? Yeah. So probably, probably in your life, right? You may have some kind of, you can say, miracle happening, right? So when you are in the verge of death, crisis, and so forth, someone or something come and rescue and help you out, right? So it happens to everyone. So that's talking miracle. It just happen in every traditions. But remember, like you mentioned, right, that in Buddhism we don't focus on miracle much. It will come naturally. If you have pure mind, yes sir.
Have you ever had a miracle?
Plenty, sir. Yes. I will tell you. Not yet. We'll see. Huh?
Tell us one.
Huh?
I'll tell you mine.
You said you left on a boat, right?
No. At that time, I didn't know anything about Buddhism yet.
Yeah, but I mean, like, from the stories I've heard about all that, just surviving that is a miracle.
You can say that still,
Yeah.
but personal miracle is different. Okay, I will share with you on the way. Don't worry. Okay. Okay, let's go to. So that's part of religion. That's part of the spiritual life. Okay, let's go number 3, please. Number 3, the two primary. Yes, and who are they?
Okay, so they were both born on the same day in adjacent.
Can you tell them the names?
Yeah, it's
Can you spell? Can you write out her?
I was just gonna say
When-
I'm not very good.
going to write out?
pronouncing.
Yeah, write them down up here, please. Just write them down here.
He's gonna need to take your answer.
Yeah, bring your laptop. Bring your laptop here up. So.
Oh, dude.
The second one is up there.
Yeah, go ahead. While he write out the names, yeah, go ahead, please.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Shariputra.
Sarah.
Shariputra. Yeah, Shariputra. This famous one. Yeah, because if you read the Buddhist Sutra, you encounter his name a lot. Yeah.
And then how do you pronounce it?
Okay. Mongoliana. Mongoliana. Okay, Mongoliana. That's okay. Just tell them. That's all. All right, go ahead. Speak. What's about them?
Okay, so they were born on the same day.
Okay.
Into adjacent villages, and they studied together under the same person, which is another name I can't really pronounce, which is Sanjaya a man who considered himself a rival of the Buddha. Mongolia and Sariputta gathered little satisfaction from their teacher and decided to go their separate ways to find truth. That's when they found the Buddha. what made these two the chief disciplines of the Buddha was their great abilities and their psychic powers and teachings. Sariputta had a great ability for teaching the Dharma, and the Buddha was found of his great wisdom. Sariputta's ability to teach lay within his 5 rules for being a good teacher, which are, the first one was speaking at the right time and not the wrong time. The second was speaking about what is and not about what is not. The third being speaking with gentleness, not with harshness. The fourth being speaking about the goal, not about what is not the goal. And the final rule being speaking with a mind full of love, not with a mind of ill will. However, what made him an even better discipline was his ability to help others with practical materials needs as well. He also had a great concern for the poor and lonely, whom he often helped and favored over the wealthy and influential.
Can you hear her? Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize. Mongolia, on the other hand, had great psychic powers, and unlike other disciplines, never used his abilities to receive praise from others. While traveling to the city of Rajah with a fellow discipline, Mongolian was faced with the tempting offer of expensive food if he would use his powers to retrieve a bowl sitting on top of a bamboo stick by raising into the air. However, he declined, knowing that using his powers for lavish things was wrong. What made these two the Buddha's chief disciplines was what made them stand out among the Buddha's followers. Sariputta's ability to effectively teach the Dharma and his ability to help the sick made him of great significance to the Buddha, while Mongolians' ability to transcend past earthly desires is what made him one of the Buddha's most capable and trustworthy disciplines.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have anything to add more? That's all? Alright, so let me sum up, right? So again, if you read the Buddhist Sutra, even the Theravada or Mahayana traditions, both traditions, you encounter this name a lot, because many times Buddha addressed to him why he's giving the teaching, and he's foremost in wisdom. So sometimes he represents the Buddha to teach. You can say that he's Buddha TA too. Yeah. And he's great in wisdom, and he's so patient. That one day, there's one monk who is jealous towards him, and he say, "Wow, that monk he report to the Buddha, and he said that Sariputta blame on him, scold him, and so forth." So later on, the Buddha called both of them, Sariputta and that monk, and Buddha inquired about this kind of problems, conflicts. So Sariputta say, "Well, if I did anything wrong, I will bow to you. I don't have any curious mind. I don't have any thought to abuse other people." So after that, he bowed down to that monk, the one that blamed on him, or the one that jealous toward him. So because of that virtue, all the monks bowed back to him, and told the Buddha that I depend my karma now, offense now, because I make up the story, and so forth. And another story that when one day when he walked on the street, on the road, he's so tired, and somehow he sat down and entered samadhi. And somehow on that at that particular times, there's two demons. They came by, and one is evil, one is good. So the evil one, he used the you say that the spirit hammers that want to smash or to beat Shariputra's head, but because he's in samadhi, he was not hurt anything. But when he got out of the samadhi and went back to Buddha, and he told the Buddha, said, somehow I have some kind of headache. And Buddha said, well, if you didn't enter the samadhi, your head would be split up because of that demon, hammers, spiritual hammers, and that's evil demon up because he created bad karma with this holy monk. So somehow he went down to the hell, according to legend, directly. So that's what the story about him. And about Moggallana, during this month, the what they call July, the lunar month, what they call July 15th, we have the special ceremony that's related to his mom. Did I tell you guys last time? Not yet. So after he attend arahantship, not Buddha yet. So he used his psychic power. I told you right?
What?
Not yet. So he used his psychic power to look for his deceased mothers. So somehow he saw that she was born as hungry wolves, and we talk about that later on. She's so hungry that he used his psychic power to bring the food to her, but the food turned into the fire when she put inside her mouth. So it's nothing for him to do. So he went back to seek the help from the Buddha, and the Buddha said, well, you need to invite the holy monks and offer the food for them so that they could pray for your mom after 3 months of retreat. Because for the monks, we need to stay in monastery or temple for 3 months. Especially in India, during the summertime, it's pretty hot, and when you go out, there's a lot of insects and so forth. You're not supposed to step on them, so that's why. But after the 3 months of retreat, the monks, with their purity in conduct, they would pray and recite the mantra for his deceased mom. And after that, he did that. He followed Buddha's instruction, and his mom was born in heaven. That's what the story that relates to him. Another story that he wanted to test the Buddha voice, so he used his psychic power to fly far, far away to the other Buddha land. And so when he flew there, that Buddha, that's many monks at that Buddha land said, oh, this is some creature, it's like human. So that Buddha said, wow, don't be careful. He's the holy monks. He's the great disciple of Shakyamuni Buddha. So after that Buddha told him, okay, why don't you use psychic power to have your body as large as Earth? So he reappeared again. So the Buddha said, how could you come here? So he said that I fly because I want to test out the voice of the Buddha, the sound of the Buddha. But even up to now, I fly too far, but still I hear the voice of Buddha. So that's great. That's related to him. So there's many stories that relate to these two men disciple of the Buddha. They like the left and right hand of the Buddha. Okay, so there's a lot of story related to them. Okay, let's move to number 4, please. Who is number 4? Number 4?
No.
Really? Oh, no one? Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay, so number 4, we talk about actually this 10. Let me see here. Yeah, this. Okay, here. There's 10 former students or monastic students of the Buddha. Ananda, the Buddha attendants. After the Buddha passed away, he together with Mahakashipa to recite the Buddha teaching orally. And we talk about that when we discuss about the compilation of the Buddha teachings. And his personal attendance. He attended arahantship after the Buddha after the Buddha passed away and entered Nirvana. And the next one, Mahakashipa, he convened the first Buddhist council, and actually the Buddha considered him as the leaders in the sangha, and Buddha gave the rope and bow. You know, in Buddhism, the rope and bow represent the authorities. So one day the Buddha shared the robe and the bow with Mahakashipa, and he, according to Buddhist legend, he's still in samadhi up to now in India, and somewhere in India, to wait for the next Buddha to come, to pass the rope and bow to the next Buddha. So that's that kind of you can say that spiritual life, or that's kind of story or legend and so forth is up to you to believe. But according to Buddhist view, even in the Mahayana and Theravada traditions, we believe that Mahakashipa, he's still in samadhi. That means he still sit in meditation to wait for the next Buddha to come for million years from now, to pass down the rope and bow to the next Buddha. That's one. Anuruddha, the Buddha's half persons, he attend arhatship. He has psychic eyes to see through things. And Mahayana, he is outspoken one. And Nanda, half brother of the Buddha. There's one story related to him. That's somehow one day the Buddha went back to attend his wedding ceremony, and somehow when the Buddha left, he gave him a bow. Because of respect to the Buddha, he carried the bow to the monastery, and the Buddha asked, "Do you want to become a monk?" After he just got married, and because of respect to Buddha, he said yes. And what happened? So of course, even his monk, he was monk at that time, he still remember of his newly wed wives. So Buddha understand his mind. So one day, he used psychic power. Actually, he walked out to the field to see some monkeys that playing around the branches of trees. And another day, he used his psychic power to take him to one of the heavens. And the Buddha said, "Wow, if you cultivate well, you can go up to heaven and enjoy with the lady there." And another day, he take him to the hell. And of course, there's one pot, that's empty spot. So he went to ask of the demon who took care of that spot, "What happened? Why it's empty?" So this demon say, "Well, it's this way. This empty spot is for Ananda. After he enjoyed his celestial life in heaven, he would come down here." So because of that, well, later on he went back and cultivate well and attend arhatship too. There's a lot of story. All right, Subhuti, he is foremost in teaching what we call emptiness teaching, and Puna too. This is they are the outspoken student of the Buddha. Oh, and Upali, he came from the low class. Remember we talked about the 4 or 5 classes in India, right? He came from the 4 class, the low class of farmer or the worker. But he was accepted as Buddha's disciple, and he foremost in what we call Vinaya, that means precept or monastic rules and regulations. So that they are the 10 foremost students of Buddha. Okay, so no one talk about this. Okay, that's okay. All right, let's move on. Number 5. Who's the number 5? Okay, yes, please. What's the number 5 about yourself?
5 of the...
Yeah, important lay supporter. Who are they?
There's 3 main ones.
Yes.
There's a Siddha, Ataka, and Samvati.
Okay, yeah.
And Siddha was a rich merchant who converted to Buddhism after he met the monk named Mahayana.
Yeah.
And he donated a park because he had a lot of land. He donated a park and they built a monastery on it so the monks could have somewhere to stay when they were in the city of Machikasanda. And Siddha was also known for being able to interpret things as Buddhist sayings and like help interpret things for monks. Like for example, like there was a monks talking about is it the objects or our vision organs that fetter the mind? And he gave an example of two oxen tied together by a rope and showing that is it really the ox that are hurting each other, or is it the rope between them that is hurting them? Showing the desires that come up from actually seeing things is what fetters the mind, I guess. At least that's how I interpret it. And then he was also, when he was dying, some divas visited him trying to convince him to reincarnate as a wealthy person. He's like, no, it doesn't matter. Because he knows he's a non-returner and the material world doesn't matter, and so that's why he just holding him. And then there's Thich Hang Dat, who was a popular disciple of Buddha because he was a really good recruiter. He knew how to talk to people and make people feel welcome to Buddhism. How he met Buddha is he's a son of a royal family, and I guess he saw him during winter. Buddha's laying on the ground in the cold winter, and he went to ask him if he's happy or not. And Buddha's like, yes, I am happy. And he didn't understand because he comes from a royal family where he's in a warm, cozy house. And then Buddha asks him, can you be unhappy with all your wealth if there's corruption and greed and jealousy? And then Hazarka says, I guess so. And that's when he converts, and that's how he becomes layman for Buddha. And then he was also a monastic man, because he recruited so many people at the monks went and told Buddha about it, and then he wanted to make sure that none of the lay people saw it because he didn't want them to know, I guess. He wanted to stay modest. And then there's Samavati, who's the lay woman. And she started out in poverty, and she escaped from her village with her family. And they show how she's a good person. When they were going to refugee camp, she was asking for food for 3 people, because they had her parents, and then the next day is for 2, the next day for 1. And then this person sarcastically said, oh, now you know how much food you actually need. And then she explained her situation, and that person felt bad and adopted her. And then she wanted to make everything better for everybody, so she organized the refugee camp and made things a lot better. And then this merchant saw her and asked to adopt her. And then after that, the king saw her of the city, and he wanted to marry her. And he was known for his temper. And so the merchant said no when the king wanted to marry, because he wanted to keep his daughter. And he flipped out and said he was going to take all of your stuff and wanted to banish him. But then Zavati was very sad by this and went to go so that she would marry the king, because she's nice. And after that, the wives are not able to leave the palace, so she sends out her servant to go buy flowers for her. And the servant finds Buddha and listens to him. And she was keeping half of the money that she was given for the flowers, stealing it. And after that she becomes a street runner. I don't know what that term means yet.
Okay.
But she goes back to the queen, says sorry, and tells her about Buddha. And the queen says, it's okay, just keep going out and learning from Buddha and then coming back and teaching me. And then one day the king's happy and says, if there's anything that you want, she's asked for Buddha to come visit. But he doesn't. But Hannah comes and visits, and she converts everybody to follow Buddha's teachings, and she even gets her violent tempered husband to actually meditate. And then after that, one of the wives gets jealous and has her murdered. But she was still avoiding all of her sarcastic remarks and kept on being a nice person throughout all of it. And then after that, the king finds out who did it and then has them arrested and burned alive. I don't know what the moral of that story is, but.
So is your group? This is your group?
No, it's just me.
What's the number?
Number 9.
Number 9. Oh, who's number 9 back then? Oh, you okay. All right, thank you. Well, anyway, so historically, so after the Buddha attained enlightenment, these 2 merchants, they stopped by to see the Buddha, and they asked the Buddha, "Who are you? Are you human?" The Buddha say no. "Are you God?" The Buddha say no. And so they ask, "Who are you?" So Buddha said, I'm Buddha. Yeah. And after that, they took refuge with the Buddha. And like you asked me, what's mean refuge? In Buddhism, this is very important to understand about what they call tree refuge. If you want to become Buddhist, you have to look what they call tree refuge. Refuge means you take shelter, right, with the Buddha, Dharma, which means his teaching, right, and the Sangha. That means the communities are based in the conservative ways, communities of monks and nuns, especially in the traditions. So, but for that two merchants, yes, they took refuge with the Buddha only at that time, right after Buddha attained enlightenment. But later on, Buddha went to teach the 5 companions in the deep park about the Four Noble Truths that we are going to study soon. And later on, many men came to study with the Buddha and to practice as monks. And of course, later on, we have the first nun to start the nuns Sangha too. Okay, and of course, without the supporter, lay supporters, Buddha could not spread his teaching well. Especially by this Thursday, we talk about Ashoka. Right? He has done a great deal for Buddhism to spread Buddhism everywhere in India continent as well as other countries too. And so that is so important. And there's this one guy that you mentioned. He even lied out. He used the gold to lie down on the ground to buy that portion of land to build a temple for the Buddha. And another lady, just the 2 men one. She devote her life to support the monks and nuns in the Sangha. This one here. This one, Anapatika, he's the main lay person. And this lady, Vishaka, she's the main lay supporter, lay female supporter of the Buddha too. Okay, so this is a lot of story about them. Now let's move on to number 6, right? Yes, the royal supporter. You who does this? Yes, please.
So pretty much found out that there was a missionary, and traveled with a bunch of different kings, handful of kings, and converted them. They supported him by building a bunch of monasteries and pleasure gardens and other things. What else have we
Yes, so? You have anything to add? It's a lot of story. Even they have a book that talk about the royal supporter of the Buddhas. Just take books. If you want to study Buddhism later, you would know. Alright, that's all you have? Okay, let's talk about this king, Bimbisara. It is a story. It's very interesting story. You know, last time when we talked about the time that he left the palace, he went to nearby, to his kingdom, Manda kingdom. And this king, he said that, why don't you stay back? I will share with you half of my kingdom, because he know that Sujata is the nearby kingdom prince. So he said, if you were him, would you stay back to accept that half kingdom? Would you stay back? Who like to think you like stay back?
If we were the Buddha, we were just ourselves.
Yourself. You stay back? Okay, yeah. But for Buddha, for the prince, he gave up everything, right? He even gave up his kingdom to seek for his spiritual life, to seek for the truth. That's why he rejected the offer. So that's why this king, he said, well, since you reject my offer, why don't you come back here? If you attain enlightenment, come back here and teach me first. So after his enlightenment, he came back to teach this king, and he's become one of the main supporter. It's many long story that his son killed him later on. His son team up with Devadatta. We talk about that later on. Okay, and the other king too. And in general, during the Buddha lifetimes, he didn't encounter any problems with the local rulers because it's spiritual and conduct. It's quite different from other religious leaders, founders. He has only one or two opponents, that's all. Okay, so it's a lot of stories. So because we don't have much time, we just move on. Okay, number 7, please. Who is the number 7? Oh, you are. Oh yeah, go ahead. So who are the Buddha opponents?
You said opponents, okay, plural.
Yes.
Okay. We interpreted, Mara was an opponent of Buddha
Okay.
from the beginning, pretty much temptation and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And his main physical opponent was Devadatta.
Can you spell? Can you write down?
Judy. Me? Group 7, come on, represent.
How do you spell that?
D-E-V-A. And I was yeah, D is right, D is right. A-T-T-A.
Not gonna be able to reach it.
Alright,
Alright.
beautiful.
Alright,
Alright,
thank you.
so Devadatta is his main physical opponent, and he is actually his cousin. As we all know from last class, he married his cousin, so Devadatta is also his cousin and brother-in-law. Well, since he's a monk now. But yeah. Devadatta was also a monk, and he had psychic powers. And since he had psychic powers, he became friends with Prince Ajasattu, which is King
Bimbisara.
Bimbisara's son. Alright? And Prince Ajasattu or whatever was really liked Devadatta and loved his psychic ability, so he started giving him stuff and recognizing him, and that made Devadatta get greedy and corrupt, and he became obsessed with fame and greed. So the urge of those things made him get jealous towards Buddha, I guess, and then it made him want to lead the Sangha.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So and whenever with all that corruption and greed and stuff, when he requested that Buddha retire and let him take over everything, and Buddha was like, no. Devadatta got even more angry, and then so he started plotting to kill Buddha. So he had 3 attempts to kill Buddha, and Devadatta went into cahoots with Prince Ajasattu, and the plan was to kill Buddha and to kill King Bimbisara, so that Prince Ajasattu can be king and Devadatta can be leader of the Sangha, and it'd be a win-win. So they succeeded in killing Bimbisara, but they were unable to kill Buddha. And I think part of the reason why is because the plan was so stupid, but okay. The original plan to kill Buddha was Devadatta was going to have one guy go kill Buddha, and then he's going to hire 2 guys to go kill that guy, and then he's going to go hire 4 guys to kill those 2 guys, and then he's going to hire 8 guys to kill those 4 guys. So on and so forth. And the first guy that tried to go kill Buddha was Devadatta didn't expect Buddha's ability to convert people and show them the ways. So all of those guys that were supposed to be hired to kill each other ended up becoming followers of Buddha. Alright? And then Devadatta had 2 more attempts to kill him. The second time he tried to throw, I think, a large stone at Buddha. And then the stone hit another stone, which made a splinter hit Buddha. So he actually drew blood that time. He actually injured him, but it didn't kill him. And then the third attempt at murder, he tried to manipulate Nalagiri, the elephant. Yeah, right there, that picture. And whenever the elephant charged at Buddha, his aura, or I guess metta, of like good, loving peace and all that, calmed the elephant, and he was able to control it. And when people used means of violence to control the elephant, Buddha was able just to be himself to control and tame the beast. So that happened. And then after he tried 3 times to kill Buddha and couldn't, he tried to, divide the Sangha up, and he came up with 5 conditions that he demanded Buddha to make all the monks follow, which was for all the monks to live in the forest, to live by begging, to wear robes made from rags and cemeteries, to live at the foot of a tree, and to refrain from eating fish or meat throughout their lives. And he made those demands to Buddha, knowing Buddha would refuse those demands because he wanted those things to be optional. And so when Buddha refused those demands, Devadatta used that to cause, a division in the Sangha, and then he got some people to follow him. But then Buddha sent his disciples over there.
You're still here.
Yep, Sariputta and Manga, Magnol, whatever, over there. Over there to teach them the ways of Dharma and explain Buddha's reasoning, so everyone ended up going back to Buddha anyways. And then Devadatta eventually, got sick, and as he was dying, he wanted to apologize, and he saw the errors in his ways, but he wasn't able to make it back to Buddha to apologize, so he died before he was able to see Buddha.
Okay, thank you. Who know about the Lotus Sutra? No? You heard about Lotus Sutra? Lotus Sutra? No. Yeah, in that one sutra, the Buddha say that even Devadatta tried to kill him several times, but he said that he is a good teacher of the Buddha. Because of him, he could attain enlightenment. He could become Buddha sooner. You surprised?
Wait.
Yeah.
Who went through the lotus?
Yeah, in the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha said because of him, he could become Buddha sooner.
He was able to take the lesson from what he learned
Yes.
from being okay with them.
Yes?
I thought he became the Buddha before he met him.
No, not
Or
yet.
after he met him?
No, not yet. He has to.
Oh.
Actually, you go to school, right? You take some classes. You have some easy professors and some tough one, right? You learn from where? From whom? Tough one or easy one? Yeah. So they are your Devadatta. Right.
What doesn't kill you make you stronger is what that was.
Yes.
Well, then Mara was just.
That's different. We'll talk about spiritual one. This one is we'll talk about this.
So he's the physical one.
The physical
Mara
one.
is the spiritual end. You can say that Mara got to him. That's why he got greedy.
No, that's different. That's different. Okay. So in your life, who give you a hard time, right? They would test you out, and you build up your strength more, right? So that's what the Buddha say in that sutra. Okay, let's move on. Number, what's number? What's your number? Number 7, right? Number 8, please. Number 8. Yes, you are. Yeah, please. What's the number?
Number 8 is the first nun.
Yes, the first nun. What's about?
So the first nun was Mahaprajapati Gautami, and she
Yes.
was the foster mother and the sister of his mom.
Yes.
And his stepmom.
So his stepmom.
Yes.
And his aunt, yeah. So after he was establishing his Sangha for 5 years, she approached him to become a nun, and eventually she ended up asking him 3 times, and all 3 times he denied her and without giving her a reason. Later on, it was speculated that it was not only women's social standing, like they weren't allowed to be on the same level as men, but he was afraid of having men and women living and sleeping in such close proximity. It's really unclear as to why he said no. But come the 3rd time she asked him, she walked 150 miles to the city that he was in Basali. She had shaved her head, and she wore robes, and she walked with 5 other companions.
500 ladies.
500?
Yeah, find the ladies. Yeah.
Wow, she was serious. She wasn't giving up. So she walked all the way over there, and when she showed up, she had swollen feet, and she was really dirty, and she was behind. She was upset. She couldn't understand why he wouldn't allow her to be a nun. And then her son, what was his name, Ananda, which was his personal assistant too. When he saw her show up looking like that, asked her what was wrong, he explained to her. He went and talked to the Buddha, and his first question was, can women attain enlightenment the same way that men can? And when Buddha responded yes, he asked him, why won't you let Mahaprabhupada become a nun? And so finally he relented and he let her, and said that she had to, like all the other monks that became part of the Sangha, she had to accept the 8 conditions. And then when she did, he allowed her to be a nun.
Yeah, here, when someone attend to that state, Buddhahood, arhatship, it go beyond gender. So physically we're different, but mentally we're the same. So there's many Buddhist nuns during Buddha times attend arhatship that become holy nuns. So we talk about that later on, the equality in Buddhism. Since we don't have much time, we go back to that question. Why did the Buddha refuse her 3 times at first and wait for Ananda to request? There's some question there, okay? All right, that's number 9, please. Yes.
Yeah, number 9 was the last meal.
Yes.
Last meal was offered by Blacksmith Chanda, and when I believe he knew it was poison before he ate it. Was that the case?
Yeah.
And he knew that was poison, and so he didn't let anyone else eat it before, so that they wouldn't be harmed. So he ate it, and then he didn't really say anything about it. He just continued on to his journey, and I think he had some intestine infection, which is kind of like diarrhea or something like that. And so he continued on his travels with pain, and he found 2 trees, or he laid and meditated in between 2 trees, and then he passed away from there. When he was dying, I think his personal servant, which was Ananda, was really sad about it because he's been a servant for a long while, and in those 25 years he had not reached nirvana like Buddha. And I think Buddha told him that he was a good person, he's been very kind to him, and that later on he would gain enlightenment. It talks about the teachings of Buddha, which with his followers, Buddha doesn't really can only guide a person to enlightenment, but doesn't really it doesn't mean you will gain enlightenment. He can only point you towards the right way. And then I think 2 lessons we learned from this was that you shouldn't really be scared of death. It shouldn't be an obstacle. It's more like it's part of life. So even a Buddha can die. And then I think something else we talk about is that I think I don't remember what it was. Yeah, so you keep going after death. I mean, it's still a journey to, I think, nirvana, even after death. And
Okay, thank you. Let me make it short. Yes, like mentioned the first day, that Buddha even prayed the one who gave him the last meal, the one who gave him the poison food. And he said that the first lady who offered him the food and the last person who gave him that food have the same merit. Imagine that someone gives you some kind of poison food and you go to the hospital, you be angry toward that person, right? But for Buddha, he said no. Both of them have the same merit. And after the Buddha passed away, we talk about division of reality. Yes, so the number 10. Yes, please.
So, as was customary and traditional at the time, Buddha was cremated, and before his death, he instructed his followers to divide up his remains to benefit the living into 8 parts and to be spread around. And the relics are going to mediate his presence and his liberating sort of influence. And the concept of the relics bring blessings, and it's a tradition in Buddhism to do veneration of the relics, because it's believed that physical existence said that the territory where Buddha was born, the ruler at the time, whose name starts with an M, I can't remember his name off. The ruler at the time wanted to keep all of the ashes, and Drona, a Brahmin priest, reminded him that that is definitely in direct opposition to his teachings, and that it should be spread for everyone. The more people who get to benefit, the better. So then he let go of them. And later it said that Ashoka, the Emperor Ashoka, divided the ashes into even more parts. And these relics are, there's things called stupas, which are big round monuments, which the relics are sort of.
Okay, thank you. So since we don't have much time, let me tell you briefly. Yes, after the Buddha passed away, they burned his body, and his remains we call the relic. Even now, his relic is so important. Most or all the country, all Buddhist country have some kind of his relic, and even some monks they pray for his relic. It appear spiritually in their prayer room too, and relics represent the physical body of the Buddha. And sometimes, even now, sometimes there's some tour monks, Tibetan monks, Vietnamese monks, they carry the relic around for the people to worship. Yes.
Can that still happen? Because where I was in the monastery in Nepal, they had a presentation of real relics, and it was like they had a jaw of this past lama, and it had legitimate things growing constantly out of it.
Yeah, we talk about that.
It's crazy.
I know that it's late for some of you guys. How about 11? Can you skip for next week? And please write out the question for this Friday, this Thursday. Okay, come up and write up, please.